murder of Austin Metcalf turn into this?
When a man what did you do? They say that it's not about race, but there was not one black person on that jury. It was automatically about race. That young boy, he was defending his
How has a murder victim been turned into a villain? Protesters aren't just defending Karmelo Anthony. They're attacking Austin Metcalf, and it's gotten worse. People are now posting fake photos of themselves urinating on Austin's grave and bragging about it online. I'd love to show you an image. Most are AI generated. I can't share you by policy. Share with you images generated by AI. But the news story is that people are using AI to put themselves over the grave of Austin Metcalf and urinating. Here's a description of one of the posts where they wrote next to this image, F Austin Metcalf, hashtag free Karmelo Anthony, followed by several middle finger emojis. It's despicable. It's shameful. It's unbelievable. And you're not just seeing it on social media. It's no longer just a few crazies. This type of mindset has made its way into academia. A professor at Howard University, Dr. Stacey Patton, wrote an article blaming Austin Metcalf's family for his own death because they, quote, failed to teach him that black boys have boundaries. Here's what was written. We have to talk about Austin's choice to approach and confront, his choice to touch, his choice to believe that another person's space was his to control, his choice to ignore a warning, his choice to participate in a long cultural tradition of policing black bodies in space. And that is a professor. I've been asking this week, how far, how widespread is this mentality? Is it just a few crazies outside of a courthouse? Is it some fringe activists? Is it just anonymous commentators on social media, or is there something deeper? I asked Jeffrey Mead this exact question.
It's far more prevalent than I wish it was, and I think it's far more prevalent than it needs to be or what's acceptable. I mean, my guess, if I had to, I would say anywhere from 40 to 60%. Black Americans were operating on an outdated software. The majority of us, I would say. So we're operating as if it's 1910, when in reality it's 2026.
40 to 60% of Black America, that's his estimate. And if that's accurate, that should concern every American. Meantime, the judge who handled Karmelo Anthony's case says it seemed like he was a nice young man and now has a better understanding of the consequences of committing a crime like he did.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on.
All right, everybody, welcome back in. It's Saturday night here on LTL Media. We're going to get into a lot of special kind of stupid tonight. It's just after all these cases end, there's always these kind of tentacles that keep forming out. And we're going to get into some interviews tonight. And definitely going to take a look at Karmelo Anthony's mom and dad that was on the Breakfast Club the other day. It was their first full-length interview after their son was sentenced to 35 years for killing Austin Metcalf. And they did the Breakfast Club with Mimi Brown, and we're going to talk about that. We'll get more to that towards the end of the show. I also want to get into that interview with Judge John Roach, and we're going to probably play that first and hear his take on this case. And then also I want to get into a video that I saw just yesterday or maybe this morning. Megyn Kelly was on with Mark Garagos, and they actually talked about why the defense had failed. I know that we've talked about points here of why the defense has failed, but we're going to hear from Mark Garagos and hear his kind of attorney take on this. Also, I'm going to play a video from Jeff Metcalf tonight, also talking about all the harassment that his family has been receiving after the verdict. And it's just, it's insane to think that people just can't get past this theory or just get past this whole thing that Karmelo Anthony stabbed Austin Metcalf in the heart. I mean, that is a fact. That is what happened. And it's just, using all these excuses besides the actual fact of what happened, using a knife, plunging it into Austin Metcalf's heart, causing a 2-inch hole in his heart, piercing through his breastbone, piercing through the sac in his heart, and ultimately killing him. I just don't know why people can't come to that determination, the end result, the end game. It's always an excuse that I hear from the Karmelo Anthony supporters. So let's do this. Let's get into Judge John Roach's interview. He gave about a 15-minute interview just a few days ago on his take on how this case went. Here we go.
Your name and how you spell it.
My name is John Roach, Johnroach.
Now, I know the answers to that. I know the answer to that question, but I got to ask it for the record.
100%.
You've been on the bench for some time.
Yep, I've been on the bench for about 20 years.
20 years.
And this is actually his last big murder case. I think he has about 2 more on the docket, and then he's going to be done. And it's strange. It's kind of what happens with judges. You know, they get that one really big case, and then they retire. But I know that he's obviously, like you just said, been on the bench for 28 years, and time to go, time to retire. Here we go.
And this is the end.
In then 6 months, it'll be in the end.
Did you want to take on this trial?
I wanted the Collin County Judiciary to take on this trial. It was important to me to have somebody from Collin County preside over this Collin County case. So I didn't ask for it. No one, that's not how it works anyway.
Yeah.
I didn't ask for it, but I was certainly willing to do it because that was my duty. In
your conversations with, my guess it's an administrative judge who goes, I know they go down the list and they say, all right, it's your turn and it's your turn. As they go through all the conflicts of judges that may potential conflicts, when they come and say, John, this may be yours, your first reaction is?
I'll take it. Every time. I think it's my job. It's my duty. That's what I was elected to do.
Yeah.
That's the oath that I took. And I'm going to do my job.
No consultation with your family or?
None.
No.
Nope.
And where does that come from?
I don't know. I think it's just duty. I think duty, whether that's duty in the Marine Corps or just duty to my family and stuff, I take duty really seriously. And I took this job to perform that duty. And if that's what I had to do, that's what I have to do.
Did you fully at the time grasp the enormity of that decision and the outside stuff?
I don't know. I think in some ways I did. I think in other ways I didn't. I certainly knew it was very, very important case within our community. I didn't think I realized the enormity of the social media and the media during the trial.
I think that's just going to be the common thing now. You know, that it's just got to be expected because everything is so public and everybody has so much access to the internet now. Things spread like wildfire and things get talked about like wildfire. So I think that's something that's going to be, taken into account of, trials going forward. And I don't like that because it tends to do things like it did in this case where Judge John Roach would not allow cameras in the courtroom. I feel that our justice system needs full transparency. I think it would have helped in this case, even though the result, I'm very happy with the result, but I think it would have quelled a lot of the bullshit and the rumors that were spread around this case. So people could see it with their, and hear it with their, see it with their own 2 eyes and hear it with their own 2 ears. Quell the rumors, quell the bullshit. And I just hope it doesn't become a trend in our legal system because we've got to have transparency. And I don't know. I mean, is there courtroom reportings? Was there trial of course, there's trial transcripts. When is all that going to be released? I want to see it. I want to look through it. I want to see what the witnesses had to say. So we'll see. Here we go.
How long have you been prepping for this trial?
I've been prepping for this trial with the departments, with the Collin County system, with the sheriff's office and everybody for about 8 months.
Is that the longest you've ever had to prep?
100%.
Why?
Logistics. One of the critical pieces of this case where we had minors who were testifying. Prior to me getting the case, we had some of those witnesses doxxed and swatted and revealed on social media. I didn't want that to add to the already traumatic event they've been through. And I didn't want them to change their testimony or be uncooperative with people trying to call them as witness out of fear. And so my number one duty at that point in time getting the case was to how do we protect those minors who are critical to this case to come and testify.
I'm sure you've already read and know that one of your fellow judges has already been doxxed and swatted and all the things.
I did know that.
And still no reluctance from wanting to take it on.
None.
Yeah. The decision to not have cameras or any kind of streaming, was that an easy one?
Yes, it was an easy decision. And I'll tell you why. My primary goal in any case is to make sure that the defendant and the prosecution gets a fair trial, period. I have seen from other cases around the country where cameras in the courtroom changed the way that the judge acted, the lawyers acted, some of the witnesses acted, and we were not going to have that here. We were going to really isolate the purpose for which we were here for, which is to have that fair trial. And
I get it. I respect what the judge is saying. I don't agree with it. But it would have been nice to have like some courtroom recordings, maybe record the day and release it afterwards. Why not? Have full transparency inside there. Just give us audio or release the trial transcripts after the day is closed, but hey, I don't make the rules. We just have to follow them, I guess.
Cameras in the courtroom did not enter into that equation at all.
How much grief did you get from people around you about that decision?
I don't know. I don't listen to it. I just flat don't listen to what's going on the outside. I do what I think is right, no matter what decision that is. And I sleep well at night knowing if I follow the law, then everything works out like it's supposed to. And so these outside influences, all the noise from the outside, I really isolated myself from that in this case and in all cases, and just do my job the best I can following the law.
How do you think we're talking with the attorneys, other attorneys outside of this. How do you think they describe you?
Strict, no nonsense, fair, and that to me is the most important part. I know for a fact when I make a decision here, people are unhappy. What I hope is when they walk out the door that they think they got a fair trial or a fair hearing or fair something. And if they do that, no matter what they think about me personally, then I've succeeded.
And you're okay with any of those characterizations?
I think they're fair.
Yeah. I hate to have to ask about stuff that emerges on social media, but I have to ask it. And I know you don't know of any of it because you're not on social media.
I'm on it. I mean, I'm an elected official, so I have a Facebook page and stuff. Do I look at it? Do I monitor it? Do I let it impact me? None, not at all.
So I have to ask, do you have a personal relationship with the Metcalfs?
I wouldn't know Mr. Metcalf prior to this trial if he walked up to me and said hello. I don't know the Metcalfs. I sympathize with the Metcalfs and what they've been through and all, but I don't know them personally. Never have.
So these AI images emerging of you and them at a party or drinking together, all
Never
of
happened.
that.
And that's the problem with social media, isn't it? You can't tell what's true and what's not true. I will tell you, I got some reports of some things that were coming out of this courtroom, and I wondered to myself, were they even in the same courtroom that I was?
Let's do a poll. So I've seen a lot of conversation. Let's see. I'm going to ask, let's see. What do I want to do here? I'm going to put a poll up. Hang on one second. I got it. All right. Poll at the top. Here it comes. Okay, started a poll. Let's see. I'm curious to see what everybody says about that. So I'm asking the question, were you all right with cameras not being in the courtroom during this trial? I want to see what everybody has to say. And this LTG, thanks so much. Said, hi, LTL. Have a good stream. Thanks for the $10 super chat to kick it off. We do have the super chat goal of 5 super chats. Okay, let's go here.
It's that bad. And I think that's tragic, because I think really if you just listen to the case based upon the facts, you'd understand it so much better.
Do you think it reinforced your decision to not have cameras or streaming inside this?
Sort of. I will tell you this. Sometimes I think maybe I should have at least the audio streamed or something so people could hear it. But at the end of the day, I don't think, no matter what, people are going to distort whatever happens or whatever they hear into their own agenda. And so what's the point? And again, that noise affects people. It affects the fairness of the trial, the safety of the witnesses, the safety of the jury. And those are my primary concerns, not what social media says. It's not my duty. I don't think it's my job to feed social media or the media stuff. I certainly understand the role that media plays in a case like this, but I'm not here to feed it. And I took that very, very seriously.
But Judge, when people don't have access to the trial or the courtroom, doesn't it invite speculation?
Well, sort of, but I got
Good
70 seats
conversation.
in my courtroom, and I had 200 requests by the media to sit in the courtroom. So let's say if I just entertain the press, then I have nobody from the public watching what's going on in their county. And so I had to do a balance between the media's right to know and to be able to report what's going on, because I think that's extraordinarily important. I think it's important that the general public had access to the courtroom and to see what was going on. And so I tried to balance all those things with the primary, again, purpose of having a fair trial. And I think I struck that balance pretty well.
But the
$5 super chat. Thank you so much, Majority. She said, my small contribution. I appreciate your contribution. Thank you so much. All right, here we go.
the media's right to know is the public's right to know. Is the public's access. We are the extension of that public.
I think somebody from the public who wanted to come watch a trial and know that they were excluded from the trial because all the media was there, I beg to differ.
Do you think there was a possibility for a learning experience? I mean, people do not know about how trial works. Do you think that this may have been an opportunity for people to know how it truly works, and that kind of erases some of the negative notions of court and trial?
I'm doing
and
this
justice.
interview with you to make sure that people understand how the system works. And if they really wanted to, and I mean this seriously, if they wanted to, they could have stood in line with everybody else and had the 27 to 32 public seats that we had in this courtroom that we rotated every day. And so was that important to them? They could have made it in here.
How did you plan for some of the outside noise?
Well, we were certainly playing with the sheriff's office and the McKinney Police Department and the Allen Police Department and the Frisco Police Department. So those were talks that we're having 8 months before the trial to ensure the safety of the people out in the parking lots. They certainly had a right to demonstrate and all. And I think we struck a very, very good balance, allowed them to do that at the same time, maintaining safety of everybody involved.
You know what I like too? The minute the court shut down, he made the announcement, our court is shut down, and if you don't leave the parking lot, you're going to be arrested. I thought that was badass. It's just like, yeah, you can all go home now.
Did it affect your day-to-day decisions?
It didn't. Actually, I didn't. I came in from a different entrance from the courthouse. I didn't come in through the front. I couldn't hear any noise at all from my office. The jurors were not facing the parking lot, so they didn't see anything or hear anything. And I think we did a marvelous job in isolating them and having them concentrate just on what was going on in this courtroom, which was my instruction from the very, very beginning.
What made this trial different?
I think it started off bad. And it started off bad with the doxing and the swatting of the judge and the parties, the witnesses, and all that stuff. So I think it started off bad, and I'm going to attribute that to social media. And I think social media got it wrong. And it is what it is. I think that's something we have to live with these days. But I think it's my responsibility and other judges' responsibility to make sure no matter what's going on in social media, that someone can walk in a courthouse and get a fair trial.
Did it make
Teresa, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. She said, thank you, LTL. Well, thank you for being here. Appreciate you stopping by and hanging out. Thank you. All right, back to John.
very different when you realize a lot of your witnesses are young witnesses?
No, look, I've been doing this for 20 years. A lot of the witnesses come in all shapes and sizes and colors and all that. And so that was normal for me. what wasn't normal for me is to have those witnesses be intimidated by things being said on social media, because those young people rely on social media more than I certainly do. And so that sure impacted me to make sure that they did not change their testimony. They were willing to come in and tell the truth without fear of being doxxed or swatted and stuff. And so I took every precaution that I could, consistent with the law, to make that happen.
I know Steve brought it up too, and I know both sides probably brought it up as well. The AI images of people claiming to be inside this courtroom.
Yeah, that ticked me off a little bit, because if you're going to call yourself the press, then and people are going to depend on you to tell them what's going on in this courtroom, you should be telling the truth. And so Mr. Stoller, a public information officer, brought it to my attention that some news outlets were posting photos saying from inside the courtroom. And it wasn't my courtroom. It wasn't the witness. It wasn't their testimony. And that's tragic.
And that's why we had amazing independent journalists like Sarah Fields. We had JD Miles, who was with Dallas, local Dallas affiliate station down there in Texas. And then we had Marianne Martinez. And those were the three go-to counts for me to recall information. And I looked at all of them, and I would look and see how they were reporting every day. And they were lining up almost syncopatic. And that's why I picked those three journalists to follow the in-courtroom reporting, because there was no fluff. There was no bullshit. They were just, they were just telling it like it was. And that's what I used to source all my information, because we didn't watch anything. We couldn't hear anything. We couldn't read transcripts. I mean, JD Miles was literally typing out what the testimony was. But they did a brilliant job. And Sarah Fields' reporting was amazing through this whole trial.
Because, again, that just breeds the narrative.
Yeah, real quick, just to speak on Sarah, I've been trying to reach out to her. I tried emailing her a few times at the email address that she had for press inquiries or media inquiries, and the email address keeps getting kicked back. And I know she's super busy right now. Like, she's been super active on X. I actually tagged her on X today as like, hey, what's a good way to get in touch with you? I'm trying to get her on the show. So if you guys are all on X, tag me and tag her and say, hey, LTL Media wants to have you come on for an interview. So I've been trying to get in touch with her. I don't have an email address, so I can't reach out to her. But if anybody knows a way that I can get in touch with Sarah, please let her know that Brian from LTL Media would love for you to come, on a show. So, yeah. All right, let's go back to Judge Roach.
That these people want to cultivate in our community to drive a wedge between us. And I think that's terrible.
Since we're on the topic of image, can we talk about some of the drawings of you during the sketch art? What do you think?
My wife would show me a drawing every once in a while of a court case going on. I couldn't figure out who the judge was. And it's all serious.
Yeah, she did. And she left an email address, and the email address that I've been using out of that tweet and on her Facebook post, it's Sarah Fields at TexasCoalition.com. I've tried emailing it quite several times, and it just keeps, mail undelivered, kicks it back. So there's no way I can get in touch with her. And I tweeted at her today, but I know she's super busy, so I'm sure her feed is probably littered with stuff, with her being tagged. But if anybody knows an email address I can get in touch with her, please, reach out to me, send it to me, LTL Media. letstalklivepodcast@gmail.com. Right, here we go.
The sketch artist was awesome. She was very sweet. She was here every day, putting her life's work into those images. Because we didn't have cameras in the courtroom, that's the only visual that anybody got. She did a marvelous job. I think I'm more handsome than what she portrayed overall, but I'll let everybody else figure that out.
Did the jury get it right?
Yeah, they did. You know why? Because they were picked based upon the law. They listened to the facts that happened here in this very courtroom, and they got a verdict. And so that's the process. And whatever they say, they get it right.
You notice the body language there. You notice the eye contact. There's no bullshit. Straight answer. Looking at the interviewer, not deviating. So it's truth. They picked the jury to the law. They came to a verdict because of the law. This is not white, black, yellow, purple, red, green. They came to a verdict based on the information, the facts of the case, and they came to their verdict because the crime fit the punishment. It's not a black and white thing. It's not a purple and red thing. None of that. So here we go.
There's going to be a lot of scrutiny over voir dire, and you denied the defense, and the dismissing of 3 jurors who at least identified as African American on their bio forms.
Yeah, they're in purple.
What did you make of that moment?
Well, that's not exactly how it works. The defense didn't dismiss them.
I'm sorry, the defense raised an objection.
They raised an objection. Yeah,
Yeah.
They have raised an objection. Like I told you before, as long as I follow the law, I sleep well at night.
Okay, let's go back. I want to hear that about picking the jury. Hang on. Let's listen to that again.
And they got a verdict. And so that's the process. And whatever they say, they get it right.
There's going to be a lot of scrutiny over voir dire, and you denied the defense, and the dismissing of 3 jurors who at least identified as African American on their bio forms. What did you make of that moment?
Well, that's not exactly how it works. The defense didn't dismiss them.
I'm sorry, the defense raised an objection.
They raised an objection. Yeah,
Yeah.
They have raised an objection. Like I told you before, as long as I follow the law, I sleep well at night. And I'm telling you, I follow the law in that case. Did I know what the perception was going to be? Sure. I knew in the back of my mind what the perception was going to be. But I'm not here to satisfy perceptions. I'm not here to satisfy agendas. I'm not here to do any of those things. I'm here to follow the law. And I did it to a T. And I'm proud of that. Very proud of that.
Good.
Is this your last big trial?
It's my last big trial. The sad part about it is
the thing is, and this was like a big argument too about, those 3 black jurors being dismissed off the jury. And it's like, yeah, but what if you even had them on? You know how juries are going to think based on the color of their skin? What if you had a black father up there that didn't agree that Anthony Karmelo, here, listen to me. Karmelo Anthony shouldn't have taken a knife to a track meet. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know how jurors are going to think based on the color of their skin. That's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. And it wasn't an all-white jury, and that has been a rumor that has been put out there, and it is a false rumor. There were many people of color on that jury. There were many people of color on that jury.
Tell you before I leave at the end of the year, I'll try a couple more murder cases, for example. The parking lot won't be full. The gallery won't be full of people watching the case. But we still have somebody who's died and someone accused of doing the killing. And it won't draw the attention that this case did. And their death is no less tragic than the tragic death of the young man in this case. And so big trial, I guess, from an outsider's perspective and the social media and the media interest in the case. But crime still happens in Collin County, and every single person deserves to have as fair of a trial that Karmelo Anthony had.
What's your take on Karmelo Anthony?
I don't know. I really don't know.
You've had a lot of defendants in your courtroom.
I have had a lot of defendants in my courtroom, and I talked to Mr. Anthony a couple times because I'm legally required to go over some things with him. He seems like a nice young man who committed a crime, and he understands today more than any day before today the consequences of committing a crime like he did.
Last question.
Yes, sir.
The future of the justice system. What do you think about it when you realize you have all these social media influencers and citizen journalists?
I don't know. I hope that the judges that hear cases, period. I was about to say high-profile cases, but that's not it. It's just any case. Realizes the importance of their job, and their job is to be fair to the state and to the defendant, and to protect the people that come before them and make just and right decisions based upon the law. And if we can do that, that's great. The influence of social media, I think, is going to continue to impact our communities everywhere. And I hope that we can rely upon our justice system to weed through the noise and find justice for everybody who comes through our doors.
Facts.
This is a personal question I wanted to ask you.
Sure.
Do you understand why the legitimate media had to be a pain in your ass?
Legitimate media. There's this guy named Jobin who I think was probably.
I don't like that. There's a real shot at independent media. And I think the reason that mainstream media does this a lot now is because they know that independent media is growing, and it's growing strong because people like myself that can get up and put on my YouTube presentation and you guys come here and hang out, you're going to get unfiltered. You're going to get unfiltered content with me. As great as this interview and as great as a mainstream media journalist I think Job is, but he's got a producer. He's filtered. I can just give you my unfiltered thoughts because I am the sole owner of LTL Media. So I can just go out there and say it like it is, where they're going to have the throttle held back on how they really report. And that's true. And, you know, like this whole thing, like legitimate media, we are legitimate media. I am reporting. You know, I have my press pass too, my Massachusetts press pass. I am credentialed in the state of Massachusetts. I can go in and sit in a courtroom and report on it. And I have. Go check out, you know, I can be there. So, you know, I just think it's funny when they go, oh, you know, the legitimate media. Well, we are. I am. All right, let's finish this up.
The worst of all of them. And no, I didn't understand how he could be that way. Look, I absolutely understand the media's role in all this. I mean, it's the First Amendment for a reason. It is absolutely the First Amendment for a reason. But at the same time, a defendant has a right to a fair trial, and the prosecution has a right to a fair trial. That's also in the Constitution. And so you just have to balance all those interests. And I'll honestly say, I think I balanced it well. And I know I made people mad, but I'm not here to make them happy either. I hope that the Metcalfs think that their son got a fair trial in this courtroom.
Oh, they don't.
Do I?
You're going to hear some crazy kind of
family thinks
stupid
their son
later.
got a fair trial in this courtroom. I certainly think he did.
Did you feel the pressure of the other courts not being able to operate too?
So, of course, they're independent elected officials. They can operate if they want to.
Yeah, and some of them have.
They have.
Virtually. Yeah.
They have. We were trying to cut down on the sheriff's duty to transporting back and forth and stuff. And so I asked them if they could modify the way they are operating in court. They could go to Zoom like we did for a long time. They could, you know, pick days that we weren't here, like on that first Tuesday. But it's up to them. It helped a lot that they cooperated.
Chris, thanks for the 5. Says, hey, check your replies on that tweet for this stream in the, let's see, contact details for Sarah, phone number and email in the top left corner. Couldn't DM you. Okay, I'll check that out. Let me see. I'm going to finish.
And by the way, that's one of the messages that I don't think I've been saying enough is.
Yeah, that is the email address I've tried reaching out to her at, and it literally just keeps kicking it back saying undeliverable. You know, like when you get that mail, what does it say? Mail undeliverable. Let's see. What is that thing that it does? It kicks back and says, mail delivery status system I don't know, whatever, status notification, message not delivered. And I've sent her quite a few, and it just keeps kicking back. So I don't know. Maybe I'll have to text her. I just feel like I don't know her enough. Like I feel uncomfortable like texting her. I don't know her enough. But I mean, if that's the way I got to get in touch with her, then maybe I'll do that. I'm not obviously going to do it now. Maybe, you know, sometime on Monday or something. I'm not going to ruin her Sunday. But maybe on Monday I'll reach out or something Monday afternoon. But thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. You know, maybe I'll just text her. It's probably easier. All right, here we go.
What we did here was a well-oiled machine. I don't see. I've never seen a case.
Do you want that on the record?
Sure.
Okay. You were wrong.
Okay. The case that we tried here in Collin County was a well-oiled machine. I mean, Collin County, it should be the model for high-profile cases from here on out. And that's because we started 8 months ago, and I met with anybody from facilities to IT to the audiovisual people to the sheriff's office. We constantly came together and met to make sure that Collin County was going to be a focus for a minute. And we wanted to make sure that everybody understood that, number one, don't come around and mess with Collin County. And because we're here for a job, that job is to make sure that everybody gets a fair trial and everybody's safe. And we wanted to go seamlessly. And one thing that does worry me a little bit is people go, oh, this was a 5-day case with the evidence. 5-day case, it must have been cut and dry. I don't know if that's true or not. It was 5 days because I wasn't wasting anybody's time.
Right.
Our community needed to heal quickly. They needed this case over one way or another, but the case had to be fair first. But we accomplished that. But it was a gargantuan effort by every single person involved in Collin County and outside Collin County. And so we're very, very proud of our county, all of our employees, all of our elected officials, all of our judges, everybody in getting this case tried quickly because our community needed it to heal.
Thank you, Josh.
Great interview.
Sure.
Really great interview. All right. Let's go to, I saw this on Megyn Kelly. It was a day ago. She had Mark Gregarios on and basically talking about why the defense failed. And, I respect Mark Gregarios' opinion. And let's hear from an actual lawyer here. Let's hear.
This poor guy, in addition to losing his son, has had to deal with nonstop harassment. They're treating him like his boy is the one who committed the murder of a black boy. That's how this is being treated. Like he's some racist kid who committed a murder for no reason. It's exactly the opposite. He did nothing wrong. He was trying to ask this kid to leave, and he paid for that with his life. Arthur, what do you make of what's happening to this poor family?
Well, I listened to the interview, and I don't know who the rebel rouser is that you were referring to. Their spokesperson down there in
fucking the baby shaker, Dominique Alexander. That's who it is. He's a race baiter and he's a baby shaker. That's what he does.
Texas,
Dominique Alexander is his name. So
Megyn, it has literally become, people should know this, it's become an industry. It's become like a way to make a living is to be a spokesperson for these cases. You can imagine how many there are in New York. I'm representing a police officer who's Hispanic, who killed someone who's Hispanic. All the witnesses and all the cops are Hispanic, and they're making this a racial thing where everyone is the same exact race. And I mean, they're screaming and they're yelling and they ripped me apart for defending the sergeant. And it's what they do. They just create problems. They're unethical. They're absolutely now there are no ethics, right? They're not lawyers, they're not judges. So they play by and they're taking money. They're, in my opinion, stealing people's money. I don't think they are providing any service, any benefit. I think typically they wind up making things much worse. But because of all the social media and the clicks and all, I mean, you just rattled off like 8 podcasts that I never heard of where all these different interviews are taking place. So, hey, why not? And I love the question you asked rhetorically, where is all that GoFundMe money? And, I did see he filed he's
already filed an appeal. He already has a new attorney, and the family has tried to put up multiple fundraisers again, and they're just getting taken down. And you have Dominique Alexander, the baby shaker, trying to put up GoFundMes and defense fund websites, which is ridiculous. I mean, it's like money with this whole thing. Money. That's what we see here. Money. We need the money. Yeah, where's the rest of the money? I'm sure the attorney didn't cost you $600,000. And now you're going to put up more GoFundMes for more money and say, oh, he's got a new lawyer and we have appeals. And Believe me, it's not going to be $1 million.
Client, meaning he has no money to do his appeal. $600,000 is a significant amount of money for anybody, even the Mark Garagoses
to blow through in a year.
I mean, that's it's a lot of money right there. So it's tragic. It's tragic. And the twin brother, and you highlighted that as well, Megan. My best friend who I lost on 9/11, as tragic as sad as his parents were, his siblings were. They still haven't recovered 25 years later, and I'm not exaggerating. And to be a twin, I mean, that has to take everything to a whole nother level. So and talk about the legality of it. I've never tried a self-defense case.
So I just looked this up, and I just saw this. Appeals are expensive. Okay, so I just did a quick little Google. How much does an appeal cost? An appeal typically costs between $10,000 and $50,000 total, depending on the complexity of the case. This total breaks down into 3 main categories. In my opinion, I just don't feel like it's that complex of a case. I think the evidence is pretty clear what happens. So you have court fees and filings, federal appeals. Let's see, $605 to the U.S. District Court plus $600 docketing fee for a U.S. appeals court. State and local appellates fees can range from roughly $300 to $1,000 depending on jurisdiction. For example, I live in the state of Massachusetts, so it's saying for the example of Massachusetts state court, enter into a civil action is $315. You have administrative and records cost. Let's see, transcripts can cost around $2,000. Copying and binding between $500 and $1,500. Attorney's fees, you have flat fees. Some attorneys offer a flat fee with specific stages of appeal, which can range from $5,000 to $20,000 plus, depending on the issue. So let's give them this, $100,000, and it could be, I don't know, could be more. I don't know, but it's definitely not $1 million. It's not $1 million. It's not 600,000. I can definitely, and I think people could agree on that. It's not $1 million. It's not going to cost $1 million for an appellate, for an appeal.
Where the defendant didn't testify and talked about why he had to act the way he did in self-defense.
Mm-hmm. There's a reason they didn't put him on the stand. I think we all know they must have concluded he would have made a terrible witness. I mean, in a self-defense claim, Mark, to not put him up there, and he's the only one. He's the only one who could say what was in his heart when Austin Metcalf came over to him, why he said to Austin Metcalf, try to touch me and you'll find out. Touch me and you'll see. Why did you say that? Why were you inviting him to touch you? What was in your head as the you'll see part of that exchange? Why did you bring the knife? All those things, if he had good explanations for them, I think we would have heard them.
Yeah, except it's not the law. And it's an interesting, one of the things that a judge instructs the jury in every single criminal case in America.
Yeah, but isn't it different when it's self-defense as the defense? I know he has no obligation to testify and you can't hold it against him that he didn't, but he's raising his whole defense is it was self-defense. I was afraid. I was threatened.
Right. And if you really believed as the lawyer, still the one tactical decision that you don't get to make as a lawyer is whether to call your client or not. I've actually gone into chambers in murder cases and said it's over my dead body that the client is taking, pun intended, taking the stand. In a self-defense case, I've had more than a few cases where I had a result that was a voluntary manslaughter without the client taking the stand. People, I think, in this case didn't understand. I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to the defense lawyer. This did not strike me ever as a self-defense case. Yes, you invoke self-defense, but it was always going to be based on what was reported. And unfortunately, we didn't have cameras in the courtroom. But based on what was reported, this was always an excessive force against whatever the push, the shove, whatever the initiation was. If it's excessive force, then you're aiming for a reduction, that you're negating malice. You're trying to get a manslaughter.
You could argue both. You could argue both in your summation. You could say, look, our position is that he acted in self-defense. He had fear, and these are the reasons why. Now, you can't get into the reasons why if he doesn't testify. If you don't know what's in his head, if he doesn't testify, hypothetically, if he says, well,
I was just reading this headline. I love it. TMZ. I love this. TMZ, right? He says, because I was looking up Mike Howard, right? It says Karmelo Anthony's trial lawyer, I think he feels remorse for murder. Well, yeah, now he's fucking feeling it because he's in prison for 35 years. Yeah, now he's feeling it. You know, he's going to be in prison for the next 35 years. Well, 17 possible parole, but 35, 17 and a half. But yeah, I'm sure he is. Now the reality of the stone walls and the iron bars, now you're starting. And that's the thing that's very striking about all of this. Not one time did you ever hear Karmelo Anthony say he was sorry. He had the opportunity to stand up in court and read a statement or put a statement out there before his sentencing and say, Judge, can I speak? I want to speak to the jury and let them know how sorry I am. And he didn't do that once. He wouldn't even look Hunter Metcalf in the eyes when Hunter was asking him to, when Hunter was reading his impact statement. So that tells you something.
yeah, I saw the deceased beat up 2 other kids just a week ago, and he broke the guy's nose, and he was bleeding all over the place. That's why I acted the way he did. I did. Well, now you can have a really sound argument, but you can tell the jury, and if you discount our theory of self-defense, this is also a case where the judge is giving you a lesser included. So therefore, you can say, you can determine whether he used excessive force under these situations and trying to get what's called a compromise verdict.
And to Arthur's point,
They rejected all of
Yeah,
it.
well-
They had manslaughter offered up
No,
to
I
them
know.
on a silver platter, and the jury said no. And then when offered the sudden passion mitigating factor on the sentencing phase, they rejected it again
No.
because that would have had a maximum of 20 years.
well,
And they gave him 35. The jury didn't buy it. They didn't buy it.
Well-
It's like, I know, like
Right.
maybe the family, the lawyer bargained that people would hear that he was asked to leave the tent and would infer that this was a racial thing and get mad at Austin Metcalf for trying to kick the black kid out in the rain, then laying hands on the black kid as this hulking white boy. They didn't buy it. They knew it was bullshit. They knew you don't stab somebody in the heart for telling you to leave a tent.
And even Carmelo's friends, his witnesses, the witnesses that were on his side, there was a couple of them that even said that Karmelo was basically in the wrong.
And
It's
literally
not the
just
case.
placing a hand
And
on
Mike Howard didn't give one piece of evidence in this case to promoting that this was self-defense. There wasn't any part, anything that we read, anything that we went through where he proved self-defense in this case.
Go ahead, Mark.
The problem was, from their standpoint,
I agree,
as
Brandon.
all cases, in my experience, it's over in jury selection. When you don't have in jury selection African Americans on that jury, it's preordained what your verdict's going to be. I remember.
Okay, tell me why.
I'll tell you why. I remember during the George Zimmerman trial. In fact, Mark O'Mara still teases me. Mark O'Mara was the lawyer for George Zimmerman. As soon as they got that jury, and it was an all-white jury, I went public and said the only way Zimmerman loses or O'Mara loses this case is if he falls and trips and hits his head, because you are never, as a defense lawyer, going to change who the person is. Just take a look at our political scene today. Take a look at kind of the left versus right, Republican versus Democrat. You're not changing anybody's hearts and minds as a lawyer. What you're doing is you're picking a jury that will look at what your defense is and either buy it or not buy it. Either the story resonates or the story doesn't resonate. You can't change in a week, in a month, even in a one-year trial, the way somebody views life. And so once you had that jury, for whatever reasons, and that jury was selected, you have to course correct to give them whatever arguments. And hopefully the lawyer, when he was doing that, understood, and by the way, the judge did give him a manslaughter. That wasn't necessarily required when the client doesn't take the stand. That was a victory for the defense. But at the same time, I guarantee you, if he still had any neurons firing, the lawyer had tried to question his client. And I can tell you, having raised a teenage boy, having represented countless teenage boys, there's rarely the teenage boy that you're going to want to put on the stand who's going to withstand a cross-examination. It just it's virtually impossible.
But there, I mean, you can find, let me just say this though, you can absolutely find black jurors who would have convicted Karmelo Anthony in a heartbeat, and white jurors who would have acquitted him had the evidence been there. And
That's exactly what I said. That's exactly what I've been saying. You don't know how people are going to think. Just because the color of their skin doesn't mean that they're going to sway one way or another. And I think that's been a very false narrative around this case. I mean, look at the Karen Reed case that on the second trial, the foreman was a black male, right? I mean, you don't know how people are going to think. And he ultimately, like right off the bat, was like, she didn't do this. She didn't do this. Heather, thank you so much. $2 says, thanks for continuing to cover this only facts with you. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. All right, let's get back to Megan.
Wanting to play this. I saw this on X last night, and I was like, because I feel like so many people are generalizing about black people, because we're seeing a lot of black people outside of this courthouse saying vile things to the Metcalf family and making this a race thing and saying we got to protect ours. They don't speak for all black people.
Make this a race issue is dumb. Race was never part of this case. It was not a litigating factor in this case. There was never any racial words that were thrown. There was never any of that. And I said that at the beginning of this case, is if it comes out in testimony, we will talk about it. But nothing of the sort ever entered the fact or got on the court record about race in this case. It was not part. It was the only thing that happened here was a teenager was stabbed in the heart. And that's what the jury had to do their job on and figure out, was this cold-blooded murder or was it self-defense? And they did that. And it was all the outside noise that created all this bullshit that it was a race case. It was not. It wasn't a litigating factor in this case. Absolutely not.
This is bullshit. Most black people are normal, just like white people. They're good, they're bad, they're in between. They're all the things. They don't have like saddled with racial grievance all the time, and they can't be fair jurors, and they can't see justice when it's administered or it's not. And that brings me to this father, whose name I don't know. It's a viral video on X. He's sitting there with his, I think they're all boys. He says they're boys, but it's 5 black children on his lap. Behind him, a couple of babies, so you can never tell gender so much with the babies. I accept him that these are the 5 black children. And listen to this guy, SOT 19.
What do you want us to do? What do you want us to do at this point? What? I'm lost for where I don't know what to do. I got 5 boys. I don't know what. I ain't got nothing to tell them no more. You can't walk away no more. What do you want us to do?
I also had 5 boys. She doesn't know what to do after the Karmelo incident. Like what to tell her sons, guys.
Don't stab people.
I'm gonna go ahead and try something. Today, boys, when you go out into school, don't stab any other kids.
Yeah, don't bring a knife. Don't stab anyone.
You think you guys can do that?
Yeah.
You feel good about that, Lee?
Fact.
You feel good about that, Ace?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, you're Aunt Trail. This is Ace. So, is that a good commitment from everybody? We're not going to stab any kids today? Probably not.
Yeah.
Hey, try that, lady. That might work.
Yeah, I mean,
I love that.
That's great.
Basic personal accountability and
See that
respect
comment,
for others,
I
Arthur.
I did not think that was the type of
Cute kids, by the way. Cute babies, right? People would be, yeah. But yeah, I mean, we don't know what we're gonna do. What are you gonna do? Yeah, you know what you do? You sit your son down and you sit him down at the dinner table and you have some dinner. You have some conversation with them, You sit your 5 boys down, you have conversation with them. Hey, look, we can learn from this. Let's not go near weapons. Let's not take them from to school in areas that they shouldn't be. Let's not play with knives. Let's not play with guns unless you're licensed and trained. I mean, these are the conversations that should be happening. And if you're around someone that has a weapon or has a gun and is not licensed and is using it for crime, then that's a person that I don't want you to be around. Don't be around people like that. It's easy conversations. And that's even if you're a parent or you're not a parent. Let's just say you're a mentor and maybe there's some kids in the neighborhood. And you tell them, look, don't do these things. These are the right things to do. All right, here we go.
We're going to play. Can I just address?
Neither did I. I did not.
Can I just address what Mark was talking about? A jury
It's
selection.
amazing. Like, think of the black people That's what they're like. The black people I know are like, he stabbed him in the heart. They're not saying like he deserved it because he placed hands on him and said, leave our tent at a sporting event in which they were rivals. Like that, the people outside of that courthouse are nutcases. The people in the media backing up, like Jasmine Crockett, are nutcase activist types.
I got a video about her coming out tomorrow. Look out for that video. Congressman Jasmine Crockett. I got a video coming out tomorrow about her.
Regular black people are not having this reaction. Maybe I'm wrong. Some are, but I just think the average person, black, white, Hispanic, what have you, understands perfectly well what happened down there. The kid snapped. I don't know why. I don't know what was in the background. He snapped and it was murder. Like, he obviously understood plunging a knife into another man's heart so deep and so hard that the heart had a 2.5-inch wound, and he nicked the bone behind it. That kid was there to kill Austin Metcalf in that moment. Go ahead, Arthur.
A couple of things. I just want to address what Mark said about a jury and jury selection. It's that, but I agree with what you also said, Megan, is that there are plenty of black jurors who convict black people and white jurors who convict white people. But Mark is correct. I mean, what I say when I lecture at law schools, Megan, you're going to get a kick out of this, is, a trial, it's like making gravy. It's like making Sunday sauce, right? Nana's Sunday sauce. But if you start with bad tomatoes, it doesn't matter how much meatballs and sausage and everything. You're never gonna have a good sauce. So if you start with a bad jury, it doesn't matter how talented you think you are. If they're just so predetermined to be against you.
All right.
Thanks for watching this clip. If you're new.
Okay, let's go to a special kind of crazy right now. And this is what the feature attraction of tonight's show. I want to get to this interview that was on the Breakfast Club the other day. It's a radio station 105.1 with Mimi Brown. And this was right after the Karmelo Anthony verdict. And this was Karmelo Anthony's parents and their first interview after that verdict. So let's listen to a special kind of crazy. This should be good. And hang on one second. Let me back this up. And here we go.
How are you guys holding up?
I mean, right now we're in a nightmare. Doesn't feel real. We've been up all night crying, praying, waiting for family to come in. We have some family who has made it. We just right now lost words, waiting for him to give us a call as soon as possible.
So you haven't heard from him just yet?
We heard from him yesterday. He actually suffered from seizures, so we actually have to bring his medicine to the courthouse. So we're waiting for him to give us instruction to get there.
We know Karmelo from the courtroom, but tell us, who is he? What kind of person is he? What kind of son is he at home?
He is a wonderful son. He's a wonderful student.
3.7 GPA, worked 2 jobs.
I'm going to pause here. I think he was all those things. I think he was a good student. I think he was a great athlete. But something along the line here, and this is where they have to be responsible for it because it starts at home. They need to figure out where it went wrong. So it's either parenting or a peer group he was hanging out with, friends. Where was your child? Who was he hanging out with? What influenced him to think that behavior like this or an act of murder was okay to do? Right? Parents are responsible. You're going to hear in this interview, there's a lot of excuses here and a lot of shift blaming. We can't figure out why this went wrong. We don't know. And it was the jury, and it was the judge, and it was the courthouse, and it was the people outside the courthouse. It's the people online. But they're never going to own up the responsibility that it's their son and there was a problem there.
I'm sorry, baby, for cutting you off. He was actually taking online classes during all of this and still held a great GPA going through this traumatic time.
He was a kid. If I didn't say it, he was a captain of his track team, football team. He was working 2 jobs. He actually saved a kid's life. That the mom, he jumped in a pool, and saved the kid's life, which is amazing.
How ironic. So he saved the kid's life and then he stabbed another one in the heart and took his life. Okay. Maybe that equaled it out. I don't know.
I didn't know how great he was until this tragic.
He I want to add some things to that. At home, he loves cooking, whether it's in the kitchen, outside, grilling. He makes the best hibachi. He loves running routes and playing soccer with his younger brother Kingston. He has a brother named Andrew. He's 12, and Andrew is into doing science experiments, and Karmelo loved helping him with science experiments.
I'm sure he did love doing all that stuff, but he took a knife to a track meet that he wasn't supposed to. He egged on a kid after they told him to leave. And then he took that knife out and stabbed and killed Austin Metcalf. So
he loved putting Legos together with his girlfriend. He's just a lovable, sincere child.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the world, just going through this trial got an accurate description of who Karmelo really is?
No, we've come to find out, which we were before all this. We were a family that basically stayed to ourselves. We were very close knitted. My wife's at home. She stays at home. I was working, and we didn't know how cruel the world could be. They have his face plastered all over it after he was.
And look at this host. She's shaking her head, agreeing with them. Their fucking son murdered someone. It's been proven in court. He's sentenced 35 years. And she's, oh God, it's awful. His face was plastered everywhere. Yeah, because he murdered someone. And that's what happens when you murder someone. Your face gets plastered everywhere.
Wow, he still was a minor. And it was like, everything was happening. We was getting threats. They doxed us. I was so clueless and so involved in work. I didn't even know what doxing was. They put our address online. And so we had people coming to our home. So we never had to leave in our home. Like they had us in some type of protective thing, whatever, to get us, to keep us safe with our other kids. The world right now, it sounds unbelievable, the things that he accomplished before this tragic accident. Like it will really mess you up. And as me being a father, I didn't realize.
Tragic accident. That's a good one. Tragic accident. They say it's an accident now. It was just an accident that he wasn't meant to stab him in the heart. He had to stab him I was trying to stab him in the arm. What are we talking about? Tragic accident.
Him saving a life. I just, as a father, I got caught up in, hey, that's what you're supposed to do. That's your expectation. You know, being a man, hey,
He's
that's what we do.
agreeing.
We move on. Like him working, hey man, you're supposed to have a job. I was trying to, he was, you know how it is, they're young. They're like, with your girl too much, man. You need to get a job, get a hybrid. So he's working, but I kept him busy too. And this whole situation, is the reality of this is that somebody literally walked in his life. Literally walked into his life. He did everything by the law, and look where we at.
So they're saying that someone came into his life, and that's what caused the strife in his life and caused him to do this. So if you think it's someone that walked it, so why weren't you paying attention to your child? Why were you not figuring out who he's playing, who he's around, who his peer group is? Right? Or just take responsibility. Take responsibility for his actions. He hasn't yet. He hasn't said he's sorry. I haven't heard anything. If you were him, wouldn't you be writing a letter to put out to the media behind bars right now? Hey, I'm sorry. I want to say I'm sorry to the Metcalf family. I'm sorry to Austin Metcalf. Nothing. Zero. Nothing.
I'm going to go back to that day.
You gotta go back to the
track
day.
meet. Were you guys at the event, at that track meet on April 2nd?
No, we were not. I
No,
was
but he
actually
was.
supposed to go to the track meet, but the weather was so bad. I just stayed home. It's like, Mama, don't come. Just stay home. And now, looking back on everything, I wish I was there. I
Yeah.
regret not being there for my child.
Yeah. I kind of wish you were there too, because maybe he wouldn't have wandered off into a tent and stabbed someone through the heart. Maybe he would have been sitting in a car, waiting for the rain to pass. Yeah.
When did you hear the news?
Do we think these are tears of failed parenthood? Do we think that's what's going on here? Now the reality is hit. We probably failed as parents. We didn't do the right thing. We didn't teach the right values. We weren't watching who his peer group was, who he was hanging out with, what was his influences. Do you think maybe that's what's going on?
What had been an incident that day?
I received an email saying that there was an incident, no phone call, no anything.
You know how
my instinct was because Karmelo, he's the type of child to let me know everything that's going on. And it wasn't like him to not call me and tell me what was going on. So when I received the email, we have Life 360. So I went into Life 360. I'm like, wait, they said the buses made it back to the school, but Karmelo location is still stating that he's at the stadium. Like, what's going on? So I headed to the school, and that's how I found out what happened.
And how I found out, I was actually in a work meeting, and when she first called me, I thought it was because it was right after April Fools. I was like, oh, y'all playing this, because he doesn't, this is not him. Yeah. So I was on, oh, you playing, all right, whatever. But she was like, no, he was involved in the stabbing. So when we heard that, I didn't know what happened at the time. And they kept us from everything. Like they kept us, so we running around from place to place. And it was everything was just moving.
I'm going to challenge that. So Variant says, I don't believe he's a cold-blooded killer. He's dumb, immature bully that intended to harm Austin, but he's not a calculated killer. All right. So we got to go back and look at the evidence. Okay. Brought a knife to an event that he shouldn't have brought it. When the confrontation or whatever you want to hear it happened, he said multiple times, 5 times inside that tent, while reaching into his bag, touch me and see what happens. Touch me and see what happens. Something along those lines. I don't know. I think he knew what he was doing. I think he knew the intent, why he was going there with whatever intent that he had. I think he went out looking for a fight that day, personally. Varian says, I think he's getting very bad advice, and that's why he didn't apologize, probably because they're still telling him to claim self-defense and not apologize. And that may be true, too. That may be true. You know, keep the money train going. All right, here we go.
Fast that day, I never forget. It was just like everything. Then once we found out and he went to his bond hearing. The next day, somebody doxed us.
Mm.
I only said a name, but a lady started making this. They try to blame it on one person, not making them about race. But you had this lady that went on to talk about white lives and all this other stuff, and now it went boom. The race card started about. That's how Jake Lane and all these other guys got involved in this. But at the end of the day, this was a kid situation that a lot of adults made it about their personal, how they really wanted to feel. This is the time they wanted to show this is how we really feel about y'all. And they used my son, for example.
It sounds like you wish you had talked more, that you had said more, that you had got your story out more.
I call myself sometimes you could do the right thing, but it could be the wrong thing.
Did Karmelo want to get his story out more to the public as well?
He was trying to listen. He was trying to listen to what he was being advised.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hey, don't make it about race. Don't do this. Don't do this. So we was like, all right, we'll go again.
Yeah. Don't make it about race, but who do they go out and hire to represent them? Dominique Alexander. And what is the one thing that he's done over the last year and through this entire trial? Brought race into the issue, made it a race issue when it wasn't a race issue, right? So they went and got that fucking guy to be their representative.
We played the game they wanted. We did everything a law abiding citizen posted. They told us don't do this. We did everything we supposed to. And he wanted people, of course he wanted somebody. They got pictures of him being 17 with a dress on, saying he could be raped in jail. Like all kinds of these adults are talking about this child, but nobody's seeing it. So we can't say anything. The other family, they go paint this lie that nobody still have exposed, that he died in his brother's arms. And it was all
that's not true, because that is a narrative. Yeah.
No, you never heard it no more. That was a lie. You heard about a bag. You never heard about a bag since trial. That's what I was telling people. A lie is temporary, but the truth lasts forever. It's just now.
Yep, and the truth came out. He stabbed Austin Metcalf and he killed him. Yep, that's the truth.
It's like harder now. I got to fight to get the truth out. He basically had to get the book thrown at him. 35 years.
Because he killed someone.
This county that basically, I honestly feel as though that they manipulated us with a smile.
Mm.
They act as if they cared, but they really didn't. When they win the jury selection, we seen all the people with the jury selection. I was like, baby, this is not right. But my wife is the type of person. I'm not gonna just say us. We're both the type. We try to be positive. Hey, we're not gonna look at it. That's not what it is. That's not us. That's what it was.
So even when you noticed there were no Black jurors, it gave you pause. It made you want to say something, but you were still going along with the process.
Again, this is just special kind of stupid here, people. You don't know how people are going to filter evidence. You don't know that. You don't know how they're going to make their decision. It's impossible. It's impossible to think that. Just because someone's white, black, green, purple, red, whatever it may be, you don't know how they're thinking. You don't know what their decision's going to be. I can't.
Yeah, what's going on with the process? Because there's a lot of times when I hope this don't be controversial, but that's the first thing they do is they try to say we're emotional. We don't follow instructions, right? So we did everything that we was advised and told to do, and look what happened.
So who was they? You said that they told you. Who was they? Was it your defense attorney?
Yeah. So we were, because about him being 18, so what they did was they kind of played everybody against everybody, if you could say. I'm not going to say they played us against each other, but it's almost they had him scared, like, hey,
So I think the problem is, and we learned this in the last interview, was when it came down to selecting the jury with the 3 black jurors, because they were teachers, they felt that they couldn't fairly make a fair decision on this trial because they worked with kids. And I think the controversy, or the proposed controversy, is that there was an objection by the defense, and Judge John Roach just said, no, like, just pick your jury. We're not going to play this game. And the thing is like, what you hear in the Carmelo Anthony supporters is that they're trying to say it was an all-white jury. It wasn't. There was a mix of people on that jury.
I'm a lawyer, this. As me being a father, all right, you're the guy, I'm okay with playing my position, and I don't want to overstep any.
Well, I think the statement variant is this, and I'm glad that you're bringing this up, because I think here's your problem with that. And let's just pause this. We'll go back to that in a minute. And I just want to share something here. I think your problem with that is this statement right here. That's the problem. So Variant says, I looked at all the evidence. He may have wanted a problem. I think he did, but I still don't believe he intended to kill him. But here you go. He self-admitted. I'm not alleged. I did it. So he self-admitted to it. And that's the problem. And the jury looked at that and said, well, there's a problem. All right, let's go back to the video. Here we go. Oh.
Boundaries. Everybody kept saying, hey, to beat this. I even went to some black attorneys. They're like, oh, you need a white attorney to go out there to fight out there. Remember they were telling us that? They kept telling us that. So everybody like, why y'all there? Everybody was telling us, okay. So then when we get it, they basically tossed them over. A lot of objections wasn't done. It's a lot that wasn't done.
So do you believe your son received a fair trial?
No.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. And we're going to keep fighting.
Mm-hmm.
We will not stop.
I want to know what, so I hope they give the answer here. It was like, what would be a fair trial? What would be the fair trial? I mean, there were no cameras in the courtroom. There were no distractions. You had an attorney, you had jurors, you had the evidence, you had a great judge. Where is the non-fair trial? What? Well, his lawyer sucked. We'll say that. Mike Howard sucked. I think that he didn't present one fact or one thing to self-defense in Carmelo's case. Not one. There wasn't one fact that was brought up in self-defense. So if you're angry, you should be angry at the lawyer that you chose because he sucked.
Fighting for justice for my son.
Yeah, it's hard for us right now, and I've had my moments. And we want our children to do better, right? We look at our YNs. This wasn't a YN. So what we gonna do about this not YN? We can make more YNs. Now you got a kid, like I just told you, everything that we're telling you right now is verified. Mm-hmm. 2 jobs with the HEB Foot Locker. That's who came to the buy him. his GPA. He still graduated through all this. He still graduated high school. He still graduated. The lady the kid he saved, this stuff really happened. He was never in trouble, and no, he was never suspended for no knife. But they had actually, what I learned was they had a smear campaign that they did. I wasn't familiar with that, and a lot of people that we were reaching out with, I understand business. A lot of people, they got a lot of things going on. So we was reaching out, I was emailing, but everybody want to go through, it's kind of a circle thing, which I understand. But I realized through this.
Why is the long pause?
Black entertainment is going to have to be, a Black network is going to have to be done, because I'm looking for people who would never understand.
Yeah.
No matter how much you do it, no matter how much you do, they would never see it.
You're saying that as you were watching the trial, as you were in there, you did
time that Karmelo needed them the most. Why did they leave? Why did they walk out of the courtroom? You're fucking parents. You're his fucking parents. And you left. You left him there. You left him there. And all the supporters did as well. It's what Sarah Fields was saying. All those people left when it was time for his sentencing, when he needed them the most, when he needed that support system that was around him the most. They all left. They left him there in that courtroom. They went out and stirred everybody up for a fucking year. And he gets convicted. And the judge poses this, jury poses the sentence. Judge reads the sentence, and they're not there. No one's there. The supporters turned in their badges. The parents left. And you say, this is your son and you care about him, and you fucking left during the most important part. Gross. Absolutely gross.
Wanted to let it play out, but was there at any point that you felt the outcome was heading in this direction?
No. Everybody lied. Look at the report. Everybody, it's called what? It's perjury. That everybody did. Basically just did it with no, and they never was called out on it. I mean, literally they told within an hour of when it happened, it was 2 to 3 people. When they got to the trial, it was, I'm like, wait, what? And don't get me wrong, the defense said, hey, didn't you say this here? Everybody. One girl made up a lie, said it was over a race.
It's all lies.
My son walked up, this is how crazy this is.
Yeah.
One girl sat on the stand and said, yeah, he just walked up to him and said, what, you want to race? It didn't even make sense. Then they asked her, did you lie? She was like, on the stand. Nothing happened.
Why didn't the defense call more witnesses?
That's not my department, and I apologize for that. I don't have
as you look at it, and I'm not an attorney, but I'm hearing you, and you're telling me all these wonderful things about him, and I'm just wondering, did the jury get to hear, all of these wonderful things about Karmelo?
No, they didn't. Even when the one kid who was the
but that's not gonna change anything. What am I on a fucking different planet here? What planet am I on right now? To hear all these I'm sure that he did all those things. I'm sure he was wonderful at all those things. I'm sure he had 2 jobs. He had a network of friends. He probably did things around the house, but saying all that stuff to a jury is not going to change their opinion about a fucking knife being slammed into someone's heart and killing them. I'm sorry. Just ain't going to happen. You think that's going to change? He had 2 jobs. You think that's going to change the jury's mind about he took a knife and plunged it into someone's heart, a knife that he wasn't supposed to take to attract me, egged some kid on, basically said 5 times, touch me and see what happens. Keep coming at me and see what happens. 5 times over, pulls the knife out, plunges in her heart. But hey, you work 2 jobs as a good kid. That's supposed to sway the jury? You got to be out of my fucking mind.
Of all this, meaning the kid who invited him to the tent, he lied on the stand and said he didn't even know him.
Yeah.
And they had pictures with his grandmother. With his grandmother. Like, here's your grandmother, my son, your grandmother. Their whole family got multiple times, play basketball together, all kind of different things.
But that doesn't change. Wow. I'm losing my mind here.
Yeah.
I mean, all of the witnesses' statements and stories were inconsistent. So we thinking that the jury is going to.
Well, she's angry because 2 of his friends, Karmelo Anthony's friends, got up and basically said, yeah, I mean, Karmelo shouldn't have done this. It was basically his fault. That's what they're mad about.
Notice that. But they already had their mind made up when they sat in that courtroom. Their mind was made up already.
Well, yeah, because he killed someone.
How big of a role do you guys believe that race
tears
played into how this case was publicly viewed and how this outcome, this sentence was handed down?
It played a big part. Race, politics, all that. I'm like, man, the kid don't even vote. How he got into the right? It was a lady talking about the left side and the right side. Like, what? These are kids. They put I feel like you had a certain group that of course, they go blame us, that strategically made this about this because they knew they could do that smear campaign. Like they said, we went and bought a new car and house.
Yeah.
And it hurt with me without my people. My people really believed instead of them going and doing their proper research. They had people really bashing us. I'm like, y'all really believe that? Who could buy a house in 4 days? Buy a house in 4 days. I know we may sometimes we may not make the right decisions, but come on now, like that didn't even make sense. They said we was going on extravagant trips. There's a lot of things that they did to us that just
we didn't make the right decisions. What does that mean? That means that you spent the money elsewhere and not for the defense. See how we kind of skirted around that? Well, we made some bad decisions. So you went and bought shit. You weren't really using the money for the defense. Is that what I'm understanding here? Is that what you guys are understanding here? Let me know in the chat.
There was a lot of misinformation that was going around, especially, in the beginning. And, I know your family had to move a couple times because you were doxxed. And, I can't even imagine how
the Metcalfs were
Carmelo
too,
going through
times.
that, trying to finish school.
Why aren't we saying that the Metcalfs were doxxed as well too, multiple times over?
Fighting, for his freedom, and you guys have other children, so much on you as parents. How's your other children handling this?
Now we had to end up taking them out of school because they had TikTok videos with my son with semen coming out of his mouth because there's him saying go get raped in jail, and it's just like that was my daughter, my princess. She had to go through that. The other boys, we was in a pretty blessed community. That's why I hope a lot of people get this message. It don't matter where you at. It don't matter where you at. We was supposed to be in the safest place, but it's like they're telling us that you could be assaulted, but you better not fight back. This is what this case is saying. They don't care. It could be 2-3 people, size, it don't matter.
Yeah.
So that's what this case is really all about. The family is saying now, I just got a message, they saying they were robbed. Now they were robbed. Now, mind you, if
they as in the Metcalf family?
I just got this thing just popped up saying people they robbed. If we don't get the message now, and it's not because it's our child, we would never get it. This is the most crucial time ever, especially if you have kids. Because again, you see the child I'm telling you about right now, we all have kids like that. We sent them off to school. We sent them off just not looking for it. Again, he didn't go look for this. That's why they try to paint that picture. They painted a picture.
He didn't go looking for this. Okay. Oh boy. This is a special kind of stupid stream.
And he didn't look for this. This walked into his life. Literally, matter of fact, they say it like this.
Well, actually, no, he walked into their life because he went into an area that he wasn't supposed to be in. Right? This walked into his life? No, sir. It's the other way around. He walked into their life. No one even knew who he was. Austin Metcalf didn't know who he was. Hunter Metcalf didn't know who he was. A lot of people didn't know who he was.
The evidence shows he jumped 3 bleachers to get to him.
Jumped 3 bleachers.
Now,
So
did the jury hear that information, and is that information on the video?
That's on the video.
And they made their minds made up.
Their mind was made up.
Already made up.
3 bleachers. Some say 1, some said 3, some said 5. Their statements was inconsistent.
So
Every
tell
statement
us,
was inconsistent.
because we haven't seen that video. What did that video show?
No.
The video showed, honestly, you can show that you can see him coming into the tent, sitting down.
You don't see anything.
And then it's like, it started getting a little, like you couldn't tell the people. But you know, we're experts. Let me tell you what the DA did. They put a spotlight on the boys, right? So you could see them.
Yeah, because they were.
But they never put a spotlight on Karmelo. And the reason why is because, of course, they was trying to make their side look like, oh, it wasn't that bag of push. The whole thing moved. Even the guy EP said in his statement, it was so bad to where it pushed him out the way. Because he's some pretty big kids. They're real big. They're bigger than me, actually. So it's like they tried to minimize their doing, but I've heard people who
This is
would supposed to be
hilarious.
justice
I can't with this interview. This interview's hilarious. This is oh man. They're really trying to dumb this thing down. They're really trying to, like, they're not talking about the stabbing. Not at all. Whew.
If I threaten you when I'm learning, you have the right to do whatever force if you feel for your life.
So the video showed. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kayla.
No, he said if you fear for your life or seriously
body home. Yeah. Oh, they were trained jujitsu fighters too.
So if you're in fear for your life, if I just push you, if I just tap you like that on the shoulder or tell you to get out of here and I give you a push, that's going to put you in the ultimate fear for your life. Please stop.
And so the video that you all that they showed in court, it shows him running away from.
Yeah, he ran to the teacher. The teacher said that the teacher he ran to a guy, and the teacher he ran to actually
Everyone pause.
He hugged him because Karmelo.
So the reason that he ran and then was told, and I forget who it was, but it might have been another teacher or coach, and I think the person that actually got a hold of Karmelo or put his arms around him was told, hey, don't let him out of the area. He's stabbed someone. He's been in an altercation. So it wasn't a hug. It was to put his arms around to hold him so he couldn't run off.
So he's not like that. He hugged the guy. Like he was freaking out. He hugged the guy.
That's false.
So the guy they was hugging. He was crying hysterically, and
maybe the name
they tried to paint it as if he was trying to leave. But
Now-
then in court they said it that he wasn't trying to leave.
Yeah. Now, did this teacher testify?
He did.
Yes. And he also said he had to stop another kid from jumping on Karmelo, which was, guess what? Supposed to have been a person that was his friend.
It didn't happen.
The guy who, hey man, come on, look, hey, if you've been to high school, think about it. The guy that told you to come over here, you sitting down, the same person who could have de-escalated the whole thing, he was trying to go after him. And that's the same guy that was playing like he was videoing, but they couldn't find the video. He was the police didn't really even try to go through his phone to even look for the video. So he said he was acting as if he was recording.
Now, when he was running, was this before or after the incident happened?
It's after the incident.
Yeah, it was after because he stabbed him.
That's why they came up with the, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
That's why they came up with the narrative that he
was running.
Yeah, he threw the knife when he threw.
Yeah, and I want to quell these rumors too because I love this. They always say they jumped him. They jumped him. Really? Because Karmelo Anthony had no injuries. I think he had a little bit of maybe a small cut on his finger. So he had no facial injuries. He had no lumps on his head. He had no bruising on his body. He had no bruises on his arms, his legs, whatever it may be, his ribs, whatever. Okay, so he wasn't jumped. And I've always gone back to this too. In the initial statement, he says, Karmelo says to the officer, he put his hands on me. I told him not to. So if he was jumped by multiple people, why didn't he make the statement that they jumped on me? I told them not to. Right?
He didn't throw the knife. His hand was cut. So it's a lot that when the video show, if you ever been on high school bleachers, you're not on the stairs. You know how you try to walk. So imagine trying to run up, he fell. So what you think fell? He only went up. They caught it in 3 bleachers. It was like 3 bleachers up. It was 3 bleachers up. So when you could see him get up. You could tell he dropped it. Then he stood up. He didn't know where to go. Yep. He ran down, fell,
killed someone,
and they was coming after him. He ran around and ran to a coach.
Yep. Yeah, that's usually what happens when you fucking stab someone and you try to run off. People are gonna come after you because you are the attacker. You're the killer, and they don't want the killer to get out of the crime scene, to get away from the crime scene, because we want to hold this person until authorities come. Yeah, that's basically what happened.
So did the video show the altercation of them approaching him first and then the confrontation? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So what do you have to say about that? Okay.
Did you talk to your defense attorney?
She's giving no context back. She supports them, but not giving any context back. And remember, we read through the law and it's equal force on the law, push for a push, punch for a punch, whatever, stab for a stab. You're allowed to use deadly force. If someone is, holding a knife to you and you have a gun, you can, to your neck, you can shoot them. But sorry, if I push you, you can't plunge a knife into my heart, causing a 2-inch cut into my heart and killing me. It just doesn't work that way by the law in Texas.
About any of these concerns that you had as the trial was playing out, or even now that the trial is over?
100%. I mean, I'm actually praying that somebody send us somebody that we get sent somebody that can help us
get some money.
It's kind of like I'm still right now in shock, so I'm just moving on and drilling right now. Like
So
I
you're
said, I
looking
haven't-
for a new defense
More
attorney
money.
for future appeal process.
Yes.
yeah.
And did your defense attorney say anything about how he feels or they feel the case went?
I'm going to say they gave us the corporate answer.
Mm.
They gave us the corporate answer, you know.
And did Karmelo want to testify in his own on his own behalf and was
Survived.
You hear? She was gonna say in his own defense, but she didn't say it.
It was based on everything. It didn't need nothing because everything they said when it's self-defense, they have to prove it. They never proved it.
okay? So that was never that was because I know there was this pause, and a lot of people thought that we were going to come back and he was going to take the stand, and he didn't. So that was never an option. That had never been discussed of him taking the stand.
Yeah, it's a good
That's
question.
why we just need a newer. We need somebody who's gonna fight.
Mhm.
That's what I can
Fight
really
for
say
what?
right now. We
Kill
just need
someone.
somebody.
Stab them in their heart. There's
Fight.
no fucking lawyer that's going to probably take this case. I'm going to tell you because they're going to lose. And you think that the appeal is going to go through, they're going to deny it.
For
Mhm.
because their whole thing was he provoked it. That was their whole.
Well, he
their
did. He
entire
said it
case.
5
He
times.
provoked
Touch me
it.
and see what happens.
That's what the whole thing was.
Mhm. Mhm. And what do you want the world to
It's a
know
bad
about
interview.
who Karmelo is and what your family is going through right now?
How about the
I'm
Metcalf?
going
What are
to
they
hell.
going through?
Doesn't feel real. We feel like, I mean, it just don't feel real.
Mhm.
He's a good kid. I mean, the receipts show that he wasn't a YN. We as adults, we're not helping with the YNs, and I know we could look at the tragedy that happened, but it was by the law.
Mhm.
The law supposed to cover us. So anybody who feels any way different, I honestly feel like, I mean, it's okay when as long as the devil don't knock at your door.
What?
Because I was clueless like that too. Hey, man, it never happened. It would never happen to me. It would never happen to me, us. Because we stayed in our lane. We worked, nice neighborhood. We were doing good, but these people basically made it their. We just had comments to where people say, "Yeah, we sending y'all back to the hood. We sending y'all. Yeah, y'all don't deserve what y'all have." He said it in court yesterday. Forgot. He said that they told my son to look at me when I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
Who said that?
The dad, the son, both
How
of them said, "Look
dare
at me
they say that?
while we talk to you." Like, oh, it's gonna come out. They said, "Look at me while we talk to you."
Yeah.
What? Yeah,
So the dad, Metcalf's father, said that to Karmelo.
and the son. The son came
son.
out.
Yeah.
The son came out. He eventually got on the stand for the impact statement.
They don't believe. Do they believe this stuff? Let me ask you: is it they're playing this up for the camera, right? Are they playing this up for the media? They don't really believe this. Is this a media thing? Like, what's going on here? I feel like we're in like an alternate reality. Are they playing this up? Like, what's going on here? Do they really think, like, are they off camera? They're like, yeah, he fucking murdered him. Like, he killed him. But we're going to get on camera and be like, hey, it's crazy what they did to him. It wasn't a fair trial. It's a white and black thing. Like, do you think they get off camera and they're like, yeah, you fucking murdered him? Or is this like they really believe this stuff? Because I don't know. Like, what's going on here? Are we getting like what's his name? Who's the guy? What the hell is that show on MTV? Punked? Who was the one that did Punked? Who's the one that did Punked? Who was the actor that did punked. Fuck, I have his face in my head. I can't think of his name. I can't get it. Who's the actor that did Punked? He dated Demi Moore for a little while. Yeah, Ashton Kutcher. He's gonna pop. Dude, you're so fucking punked. Got you, dude. Is that what's gonna happen here? Like, is Ashton Kutcher gonna pop up? Dude, so punked you. Right? Because I feel like this was going on. All right, let's finish this one up.
But he didn't want to get on the stand, and I even tried to get
Jesus. What is going on?
people to I even tried to get them to call him, but it's just a lot. And I know what's going to hurt me more, because this interview may push a lot of people off wanting to help us, because, oh, well, you did this, man, I don't do this. I don't understand why we like that. Like, we all fighting for the same goal. Like,
fighting.
Oh man, all right, sure. Well, you said this. I can't. What? Come on, man. Like, but it's okay, because you know what? It's not yours. So I totally understand it. But I just tell everybody, be careful in case that devil not.
You know, and as parents, have you all struggled with guilt? You know, asking yourselves, is there anything differently? I know, Kayla, you said you wish you had gone to that track meet. You know, but as a trial has played out, is there anything that you both wish you could have done differently?
I wish I would have been rebellious and just do what
or listening to advice that you thought was.
She just saved him. She just saved him there. I wish I would have been rebellious, and Mimi just saved him.
Has played out. Is there anything that you both wish you could have done differently?
I wish I would have been rebellious and just do what
or listening to advice that you thought was.
Yeah, I was told, don't talk to this person. Don't talk to this person. I feel like it was just a setup. Now, like I said, they told us, go get white attorneys. Every black person I went to, white attorneys. No white attorneys, they set them up, pushed them. Hey, here you go. I mean, no objections. It was things smooth. So because as a father of me being who I am, I got to make sure she's straight. This mama bear, I got to make sure she's straight mentally, because if she's not straight, my house ain't straight. I'm not straight. Then so because I got the kids to worry about. Got to make sure his mental health. I can't go back and forth with him right in there, because I don't think his mental can handle it. The misunderstanding of what dad is trying to say. This ain't a daddy moment. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
It's not the time for me to be arguing with you about, hey, you know. So I'm like, hey son,
It's not a daddy moment. Well, yeah, it really was. It was a good teaching moment, just like we saw in the Megyn Kelly video. When the father had his 5 kids down, he said, well, and the lady goes, what are we going to do after the verdict? What are we going to do about after the Karmelo Anthony verdict? And he said, I'm going to teach my kids not to stab people. That's what should have been happen here.
Can you see? I know a lot of people say, well, I would have done this or I would have done that. You say that because you're not in that situation. So I couldn't do that. And me knowing my son, which is, your child, correct? You see, I don't want him to maybe want to hurt himself, because I don't know what he's dealing with. He's doing a great job. He's still in school.
I don't know what he's dealing with. That's the problem. So this is not a lot of evidence here that's come out, in my opinion, that there probably wasn't a lot of attention and probably some poor parenting here. And I think the whole he was a good kid and he worked 2 jobs and we were a family unit, I think that's all fluff. That's just my opinion. Because there's a lot of telling things here that are going on. I don't know what he was going through. Well, why didn't you? That means that you weren't having conversations with him. You weren't speaking to your children. You weren't having those types of conversations with them.
Keeping them busy. We trying to do stuff around the house. And one thing, this thing did do with us. It brought our family closer.
Yeah.
And I
Sure
worked
did.
a lot. Well, I didn't work that much. I was home on weekends. But to her, I worked too much. But I was able to have this time for us to be together.
Yeah.
And I think they did this to us because they wanted us to be in poverty. They wasn't expecting, because the tables are turned. Me and her been together since high school. It's the other side who's divorced. So that picture they painted, the houses and the cars, that was the other side. That wasn't us. We just couldn't say nothing. And then when we did say something, it was like, oh, whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, don't go lie. Hey, don't do this. Don't say this. Hey, people go say what they go say. So so no matter what we did, we was losing.
It was a lose battle. You felt like it was a lose battle.
Well,
Yeah.
because he
And I just have a
on
few
heart.
more questions for you. I want to. When the verdict came down,
Oh.
what was the first thought that went through your head?
I feel my son.
Oh, that's the statement.
Oh, I feel like, man, I felt like I cried so much. I've held back and I told her, man, I'm that dad, like, hold it up and be tight. I said, boy, you broke me. You broke me when it first happened. I never cried as much as I've cried. And it was just like when I seen him, when he grabbed it, I could still picture that man when he's saying it. He said it so smooth. Like the way he said it, the way he read that verdict, it was like,
More excuses.
Yeah, as such and such, he's found guilty. It was just comfortable. It was comfortable. You could tell the way he read it was
killed someone.
Like, damn, I'm about to say it was. Hey, look. And I told my attorney, like, yeah, we know.
Now he's kind of babbling on because he knew he just got caught there. When the verdict came down, what did you think? I failed my son. I failed my son. And now it's, when the judge read the verdict and it came out so smooth, and no. Now it's the judge's fault. Now it's the judge's fault. But that's the soundbite right there. When the verdict came down, what did you think? I failed my son, and I think that's how he really feels.
The hell you mean, But then if I act up, I'm the emotional black man. You follow what I'm saying? Oh, look at him. Then it would have been on breaking news. Oh, he done flashed out. Oh, look that's how they had it. We got him. So I had to humble myself. It wasn't just for me and my family. It was for all of us. Because if I would have flashed out the way I wanted to, it would have been all that. You would probably be looking at, God damn it, that boy done went up there after the fool. That's what they wanted.
Yeah.
So I played their game, and I'm just let you know their game don't work. It's not for us. The justice system is not for us. They can't say we did anything out of what we was told. We follow all the instructions and we follow the law. It just don't work for us.
Mm-hmm. What do you say to the people who say?
He's calling now.
Okay.
He's calling
attorney or
Thank
Karmelo.
God.
And that's that. I just think it's the special kind of stupid. It really does. It really is. Oh, this was a good one. Ready for this one? Let's play this. We'll finish up with this. This was CBS News out in Los Angeles. I think this was either this morning or yesterday morning. Ready for this one? This is good. This one was a good one too.
This week in Texas, after a jury found 19-year-old Karmelo Anthony guilty of murder in the stabbing of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf. Anthony was sentenced to 35 years in prison. The two teens were high school track athletes at competing schools. They were both 17 at the time of the incident. The jury rejected Anthony's claim that he killed Metcalf in self-defense. The closely watched trial is sparking debate over self-defense, race, and school safety.
This morning, we're joined by attorney Joanne Molinaro to discuss
a good
this
one.
case and why it has become so divisive. Good morning, Joanne.
Good morning, ladies.
Go ahead.
Thanks for being with us. This is a case that's
Tell
talked
us.
about all over the nation. And I know you've talked about it on your Instagram page. page, so I wanted to have you on to discuss it.
Yeah, well, it's a sad case. It's very, very tragic. We have a young man who lost his life, and another young man who's going to be spending a good chunk of his adult life in jail.
Yep.
Absolutely. Okay, so one of the sticking points in this case is that all the Black jurors were struck from the jury.
Here we go.
How is that even legal in 2020?
So to be very specific, there was a large jury pool, about roughly 500 people, and jurors were eliminated for largely legitimate reasons, and included among that were Black American jurors. I think what's causing a lot of controversy, though, is that once the jurors reached the strike pool, which is the area in which prosecutors and defendants counsel can choose to strike certain jurors, all of the Black jurors remaining in that strike zone were struck by the prosecutor. Now, think of it kind of like a dinner party. You're planning with your partner, right? Each party gets 10 strikes, and they can strike for any reason other than race or other improper reason. And in this case, the prosecutor said it had nothing to do with race, but it's very eyebrow raising that all of the remaining Black jurors were struck by.
The funny thing is, there were people of color on that jury. So it's like this whole thing, like the race makeup of the jury in this trial, it just doesn't mitigate the fucking stabbing that Karmelo Anthony did. I mean, it's never going to take that away. And I'm still going to go back and I will push back against anybody. It doesn't matter. You don't know how someone's going to think on a jury if they're black, white, purple, green, red, whatever they are, whatever race you are, you're not sure how someone's going to vote on a jury. And if you think that people are going to vote some way, a certain way, because of the color of their skin, then you're a piece of shit, you know, because you're just automatically casting values on people because of their race. And that's a piece of shitty thing to do. Piece of shitty. It's a piece of shit thing to do. Absolutely. 100%. So you're fucking stereotyping.
His strikes. Joanne, 19-year-old Karmelo Anthony claimed he stabbed Austin Metcalf in self-defense. So can you explain why that argument didn't hold up with the
Because
jurors?
he killed him.
There are really two reasons that probably prevented that from sticking with the jurors. And the first one is a proportionality argument, right? Deadly force is only permitted when there's a, protection of otherwise deadly force. A shove or a push, that doesn't rise to the level of saying, I'm going to...
Now she said something actually intelligent in this interview, because now she's following the definition of the law.
Take my knife out now and respond in kind. It's not an in-kind response.
Right.
I think the other reason the jury probably had a problem with that was, of course, the statement that was uttered by the defendant right before he was bullied, which is, you're going to come at me and you're going to find out. And then he reaches into his pocket for that weapon. That provoking statement.
Yeah, sounds like you wanted to do it.
Under Texas law, prevented an appliance of self-defense as we would otherwise might have seen.
Right, and of course, Anthony's lawyers argued that Metcalf was much larger, and that's why his push was met with the stab. But the jury did not go with that argument. The jury also in Texas decides not only the verdict, but the sentence here. How did that complicate this case?
So in Texas, it's one of like six states.
How did it complicate the case? I love these people. They just try to make excuses. And they got some fucking producer in their ear that's chirping in them. She probably really doesn't want to say this stuff, but she's like, if I don't say it, I'm going to lose my job.
In the country that permits the jury to derive the sentence. And in this particular case, it was actually defendant who made that election. Now, the defendant elected to have the jury render the sentence before the defendant knew what the makeup of that jury might
give me
be.
a break.
So they took a big gamble here. And in this situation, given the composition of the jury and what we have statistically seen happens when an all-white jury is rendering either a verdict or a sentence.
It wasn't an all-white jury, lady.
Some have thought perhaps that is why we're seeing a rather harsh sentence to a...
I want to pull my fucking eyeballs out. I want to pull my eyeballs out right now. I really do. And this is the problem in America. You get these dumb people that get up and just spew lie after lie after lie. And people sit there and they watch TV and they go, yeah, it must be true. I know, it must be true. Oh, God, all white jury. Well, if you did a little bit of research, you'd probably find out that a lot of the stuff that she's saying is not true. Play. Uh-oh, I broke the internet. What's going on here? All right, let me reshare and I'm going to finish this up.
Rendering either a verdict or a sentence to a Black American defendant. Some have thought perhaps that is why we're seeing a rather harsh sentence to a 17-year-old
This is
defendant.
insane.
Wow. Okay, well, before we let you go, we want to ask you if there is any chance for Anthony to appeal the
No.
sentence.
So he has already filed a notice of appeal, and there are going to be a number of legal bases for that appeal. Now, appealing a sentence is really, really hard.
Yeah,
Under
not gonna
Texas law, it's going to be very hard because this sentence, while some may think it was very hard for a 17-year-old, it fits within the guidelines. It fits within the statutory range. So there is very little chance that this sentence is going to be reduced or thrown out. However, there are certainly bases for throwing out the verdict altogether because of some of the process, issues that we talked about. For example, the jury selection.
They're just trying to get that hope, that hope to let a murderer out, someone that took a knife and stabbed someone through the heart. They want this person to run around in society again. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah. Well, Joanne, this is a case people are talking about all over the country, so we appreciate your insight into why everybody's so wrapped into it.
Yeah.
Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Joanne.
Oh, boy.
Thank you for coming on.
All right. Oh, so I call this the special kind of stupid stream. A lot of dumb things. A lot of dumb things here. And it's like every time I keep digging in, I'm like, okay, things are going to settle down. People are going to start, this won't be, conversated about. People stop conversations about it. No, there's something else dumb that comes up and all this stupid shit. So, I think that's going to be it. We're going to end this stream tonight. It's getting late here. It's 10 p.m. on the East Coast, Saturday night. I want to thank all the new people that have come into the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure to subscribe. And I got a video that's going to be dropping at noontime tomorrow about Congressman Crockett, Jasmine Crockett. So look out for that video. It'll pop out. All right, everybody. I want to thank everybody, my moderators, my subscribers, my members. Thank you all so much for being here on... Look at this new sub here. Awesome. Thanks for being here. We cover a lot of cases. You can go on my homepage and look at all of the cases that I cover over there and all the things that we talk about. And don't forget to check out your latest on ltlmedianews.com. I have all my blogs and vlogs there. If you want text alerts when I go live, you can hit alerts and sign up here. Just click this graphic, put in your telephone number, and I alert everybody before I go live. So you can sign up there. I'll drop the link for the alerts if you want to sign up. We're starting to get some people signing up. I got about 40 or 50 people, which is great. We need to get that number up. Those are rookie numbers. We're going to pump those numbers up. But yeah, go check it out. ltlmedianews.com. We got a lot of all the cases that I fight for here in the state of Massachusetts and Rhode Island. And just the other topics that we talk about here on the channel. I'll drop my link to my website as well, too. All right, everybody. I'm going to head out, get out of here, get some rest. I'll be back maybe tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe we do a members only tomorrow. I haven't done one in a while. I owe a members only. But that's going to be it. I'm Brian, this LTL Media. Thank you all so much. Have a great night, and we'll talk soon. I'm out of here. Peace.
Why do you want to be here? Why do you love Space. Why do you love being a part of history?
We're going back to the frickin' moon, that's why.